Okay, I don't know why we got kicked off. Let's try this again. Okay, we're going to try this again. I don't know why we got kicked off.
Here we are.
Here we are. I don't know why we got kicked off. I have no idea.
It's too much heat, too much
It's too
flavor.
much
They
heat,
knew
right? So
that,
they know it's
we
getting
were
ready to
coming
go
in
down.
hot. So,
So, welcome, Mateo. And I'm just going to do an introduction and then we're going to jump right in. And
Theo's
I
mad
love your
funny.
bookshelves in the back.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Can I
you.
hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, a little low.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Okay. So while
Yeah,
you're
let me
doing that,
put these.
thank you guys for joining me this evening for another episode of Literary Wind Down. I'm Janice, the bookstagrammer behind Spines and Vines, and I am thrilled to have Mateo Askaripour with me this evening, who is officially now a New York Times best-selling author.
That
Congratulations.
happened. Thank you. Can you hear me better?
A little bit. It's a little low.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
This IG's not being
Yeah,
friendly
maybe
with
it's
us.
IG.
I'm not sure. I got
You
can
guys
you
good? Can y'all
listeners
hear
hear me?
okay out there? Okay, we're good.
All right,
So,
cool. Cool.
so tell me, how does it feel to be a New York Times bestselling debut author? I mean, that's just amazing.
What up, Achille?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's in here, and Reggie.
and they're all in here. I see it.
Yes. So you already know
Yeah.
they're going to be cutting up. So I'm going to have to do my best just not to get sidetracked by them.
I get sidetracked. I actually allow myself to get sidetracked. What up, Theo? So I can interact. What up? Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, Jamise. It's something, when I began writing that I was like, yo, I would love to achieve this milestone for sure, right? I won't front like I didn't have dreams of being a New York Times bestseller, all this stuff. But to be honest, it's not the end all be all, right?
Right.
It is one thing, but it doesn't define me. And there are a lot more valuable things that have transpired over the past few weeks. But I am happy to be a New York Times bestseller. Let's not kid.
Congratulations. So before we
Thank
get
you.
started into the book, your fans want to know because you did something today and they want to know, are you singing for them tonight?
Am I singing for them?
Are you
I
singing
knew I
for them?
shouldn't
Because
have.
you were on your IG Live singing earlier today.
I know it just hit me. I was just inspired by our event, by your energy. I don't know, somewhere over the rainbow. No, I'm not singing. That's all you're gonna get.
So are you winding down with anything tonight?
I got some tea. I need the energy right now.
You
That
have
wine's
tea.
gonna knock
Okay.
me out. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say I'm enjoying a nice Merlot and it's called the Velvet Devil Merlot.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
very good, very bold, nice. I love Merlot, so it's very good. So we're going to jump right in. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the question box down below. And I'm just going to jump right in and just ask you, what inspired you to write this story? Because I, I loved it. I
I'm happy to
cackled so
hear.
much through this. I mean, as so many truths in it, but you have to
Mm.
laugh just because it's just so asinine and absurd that some of the things that we go through. And so,
Yep.
what inspired you to write this story?
Yeah. An inspiration was to help people feel seen, right? And this is set in a white majority workplace, but for many of us that have moved throughout the world, it might not be a workplace. It could be an institution, it could be a sports team, it could be a religious organization, and it might not even have to do with race all the time. It could do with gender expression, sexual orientation, religion, where you are one of the few in that type of place or the only one. So I just wanted to focus on one young black man, Darren, because that's closest to my experience of having worked in the startup world and the world of sales. And I thought that I could bring the reader into this world and for my black readers to show many of us that we're not alone through going through these things. We are not paranoid, we are not overly sensitive, and we are not crazy. right? When we
Right.
think that something's off, especially in these environments. But like you said, I wasn't trying to write 400 pages of tragedy and trauma, because that is not our experience. It's not one thing. You know,
Yes.
there's a lot of triumph in there as well. So I'm happy that you were able to laugh, because I use humor as a way to often underscore the horror. And that's the way my mind works as well. People who know me, people are up in here, know that we can be serious and we can be silly. But as you said, Jamise, a lot of what we experience is just so absurd.
Yes.
So when you see it on the page, you're like, yo, what? Like,
yes.
that sounds familiar, or I've experienced it. And while it's dangerous and tragic, it's also sort of funny in some ways.
I mean, it's the feeling of you have to laugh or just kind of chuckle to yourself to keep from completely going off or just smacking the hell out of somebody. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of feeling. But
yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed quite a bit of it. It was very good.
What made you laugh hardest, if I can ask?
I
put you on the spot now.
You did put me on the spot. So when all the different names, did I even mark it down? The white company having all the rap stars names, rap song names.
That Negotiators with Attitude. Tupac Shakur.
Yes, that part.
Tribe Called Qualified. Laurang Hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Clyde just being just overtly racist, or just, talking about the way you're dressed, the way you talk, things like that. And I think whenever someone says, I'm not racist, that's just such a red flag to me, because you don't have to say that. And for you to
I'm not racist, but yeah,
right. So
there's that but.
Yes, the but. As my dad used to say, anything after but is shit. So it's what I go by.
All right, Pops, I'm with it.
So did you know that you always wanted to use satire as an avenue to tell the story?
No. Honestly, to keep it real, when I was writing, I knew that there were satirical elements. I knew there were absurd elements, right? There's people saying, let's not spoil. We're
not going to spoil.
Office, that's what I'll say, right? There's a pig, right? That's all I'm going to say. There's a pig in the office. So I knew that there was going to be a few absurd things in there. But I wasn't like, let me write this satire to like juke people and hit them with some truth. It was more so that that's the way that my mind works, where sometimes we're going to be funny, right? But by the end of the book or a few parts in, anyone who's reading could be like, how funny was that actually? And an example of this is when Darren rolls in and they're like, yo, has anyone ever said he looked like MLK? And they're like, has anyone ever said he looked like Malcolm X? And then they go to Sidney Poitier, then they go to Dave Chappelle and Drake. I almost threw Oprah in there just to really hit home the point, right? Because at first we're like, yo, this is funny. By the end, right, Jamise, I'm sure that you have 4 to 5, if not more people that you have been compared to that you may or may not look like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So satire, it's like, yeah, I knew that there were going to be some satirical elements, and some people are surprised to hear this. I wrote this as a very sincere and earnest book, and I'm not hiding behind the label of satire. Like, yo, chill out. It's just satire. That's why, some of these jokes are in there, XYZ. I wrote it very sincerely. I wrote it very intentionally. And while I definitely did have some blind spots, maybe there's like 5% blind spots or things that weren't intentional. The whole piece was thought with goals, names in mind. And it's like when people want to ask about certain parts of the book or take issue with certain parts, I welcome that so we can discuss it, right? Because I thought about it beforehand. None of it was willy-nilly,
Right. I mean, I think early on, and if you're a reader and you're reading this book, you know that this book is Black people are centered in this book. This is who this book is for. So that should not be a question, nor should you be offended by that. And that's one thing I like up front, that that's what this book is going to address. Can we talk about, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but as soon as I saw this, I was like, Black Buck. I was like, okay, this is a racial slur.
Yeah.
And a lot of young people may not know that. I'm not saying anything about young people, but Black Buck is a racial slur back in the day. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. And, I thought about that in terms of a lot of young folk maybe not even being familiar with the term, right? Black or white or anyone in between. But of
Hmm.
course, you knew what it was. A lot of older Black folk, my mother included, they're like, Black buck, like, what do you mean? Like, what is it provocative? So I didn't come up with the title to intentionally provoke. That wasn't it. That's sort of not my style. And despite how crazy and wild the book can be, I wasn't like, yo, let me upset people or offend people. There were times I was like, let me push the reader. Let me push them really far or push them past their
Yes.
breaking point. But it wasn't, my brother, what up? But it wasn't to intentionally like provoke or offend. So when it came to the title, I thought it was super apt in terms of reclamation, right? Because the
Yes.
Black Buck, for the folks who don't know, and I know you know, obviously, but the historical connotation was the enslaved male, typically, that the white enslavers thought was going to burn down the plantation. He was typically viewed as being just big and brawny. He was going to steal the women, steal the animals, and bounce, So Buck, he is not burning down these corporations from the inside out physically, but he is
Hmm.
burning down what they stand for, and he's
Yes.
bucking the system. So that's the energy that I wanted to translate into this 21st century narrative, where many people, right, whether it be Clyde or whether it be Rhett or other people in this narrative, would view him as this unruly Black man that they can't control. But
Yes.
aside from that, there's levels to it, right? He used to work at Starbucks. He's renamed Buck. There is
So
the
I did
message.
laugh at that.
You laughed at that, right? There's the message of Black generational wealth and Black bucks, like helping us get our coins. And sometimes that message is construed for folks, because when we talk about Black people getting their money, some people could be like, why do we want more Black billionaires, right? Jay-Z has that line, what's better than one Black billionaire with the same hue as you, two?
Yes.
And people are like, nah, brother, it's actually redistributing that wealth. So the point isn't to emulate Jeff Bezos and to get a billy, right? But it is to help us accrue some real coins to help further our communities and allow us to create more spaces by us and for us. So that is a message in there that is in the name Black Buck.
Yes. So yeah, I want to also mention the structure of the book. I love the structure. Instruction manual, sales manual. I was in sales many moons ago, and so to me,
that.
To me, it was just very enlightening. And I think any salesperson will see so much of themselves and their job in this book. So, and the author's notes. So I'm talking about the structure of the book and the author's note, because I had to read the author's notes twice because I thought it was you.
You thought it was me?
Yes.
Oh, man, people think it was me. Yo, did anyone else think it was me?
I did, because first of all, I was listening to the audiobook, and so I was like, you know what? Let me go pick up the book and see. And then I'm like, okay, is this him? And then I was like, oh no, it's not him. But it's written in that way. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, yo, this chat, people are doing their thing in here. They're saying Reggie's acting up. That's my man. I see Tracy
Robert,
in here.
I
see Robert.
Baldwin is
G.
in here. Hello.
It's my man, Michaela. So yeah, the author's note, I didn't intend it to be this like gotcha, because I sign it as Buck at the end. But damn, people out here trying to make me blush. All right.
Oh yes,
so,
get ready. I mean, what can you say after the Entertainment Weekly spread? Really. So
it took place in this apartment, actually, through an iPhone. They took it with an iPhone. But anyway, all right. So the author's note, that came to me one night. I remember it was January 8th. I had planned to work on a third manuscript. I'd written 2 books before, didn't go anywhere, didn't achieve my aims with them. It was like just trying to learn how to write and be a writer, which are 2 things that I'm always going to continue to learn more about, right? I need to hone my craft and get better every day and with every book and every piece. But that night it just hit me. And Jamise, I don't even write at night. I write during the day. But it hit me. I blasted out that author's note. It's largely unchanged. And it's written from the perspective of Buck because I knew that I wanted him to be the writer. The author's note, excuse me, like you said, from the jump, you know that I am addressing Black readers. But it's funny because I was talking with Tracy about this, right? I knew that white people and non-Black folk were going to read the book. And that's why in that author's note, it's built in. Like, yo, you can come along for the ride. This wasn't written with you in mind. Even take on a fancy Black name. We're just being playful, but don't go too far. Right. Don't put on blackface. Don't don an afro and a blackface, like you might want to do when you feel like you're down. But the idea was to let people know what it was from the jump, to let them know the energy that we had coming in with the book, that this was not going to be an easy read. It was not going to be just a wild ride like some of us discuss it, but more so like a hostage situation. And you're not getting out. And even when the book ends, hopefully you still think about it. But in terms of that sales manual aspect, I wanted the book to be something beyond an engaging narrative that would actually be able to teach people and give them some gems to better their own lives. And it doesn't mean to like go and get a sales job. Even though it was a bold aim, I thought that someone would be able to read the book and then walk into an entry-level sales job and either get it or have an edge, which I still believe. And you as a previous saleswoman, you know, maybe you would agree because there's some truth in there about sales and life. But beyond that, I wanted people to gain these sales and life skills to even just advocate for ourselves better in our communities and one-on-one interactions and one-on-one conversations. And that's why I decided to break the fourth wall as well, like super conspicuously.
Yeah, I think a lot of the tips and tidbits, it goes beyond sales. You know, you can use those just in everyday life. A lot of the tidbits that you gave, which made it very interesting. I really liked the structure of the book. Can we talk a little bit? Another part that I loved was the honesty. You know, and people get a little bruised with honesty when you're putting things in their face that kind of calls them to the carpet. And so was there any fear that you had in your truth telling? Because you called out a lot of things, especially about being the only Black person in white spaces, in white corporate places, maybe in classrooms, just being the only one. I thought that you put a lot of truth behind that. And was there any fear in your writing when you were telling, I mean, because you were pretty bold and upfront.
Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging that and also for the real question. Listen, I don't remember exactly everything I felt while writing it. There could have been some fear, but in hindsight, there really wasn't. Because again, I was writing with us in mind, to us. So I didn't have, you know, Sally, Georgina, Kathy, no shade to you all, but I didn't have them in my head, right? Or Todd, you know, Braithwaite, whatever these names are like, you know, I didn't have those people in my mind as I was writing. They weren't with me. I had you, right? I had my mom, I had my brothers, I had Reggie, I had Michaela, I had Joy, I had all the homies, I had Tracy in my mind, right? Even if it wasn't exactly like, oh, this is Jamise. It was the type of people that we are. And it also wasn't exactly one type of Black person. It was many of us, because not all of us have had these experiences just in the workplace. It's been outside, it's been casual, it's been in the street. So that freed me to like go a little far. And I had some people who were like, yo, man, Buck is like sort of cutting on these white people a little hard. Like, how do you think white readers are going to perceive that? And I was like, well, listen, you know how you and I talk just in general about the world that we live in. And sometimes we're like, white people are bugging out, yo. Look what happened at the Capitol. There were a couple Black people there. I don't know what they were doing there. There were a couple, right? Let's not forget. But I was like, this book is like that, those one-on-one conversations. But I will say, I had fear earlier on before writing this book, because before writing this book, I wrote some essays. People can find them on my website. People can find them on Medium. And those essays were exploring more like traumatic, bizarre, in some cases, racist experiences I had when I was younger. And the fear that came with it was, one, writing trauma porn, right? That people are just going to want to eat up and put us in a box, right? And I was like, damn, like I am writing about some trauma. I don't want to feed into trauma porn. So that was one concern. But when I had read some of those pieces to other Black folks who have experienced the same things, they said, I didn't know that you experienced that, and that makes me feel less alone. So I was like, I got to put this out there. Another fear, again, not going to front, was people I knew, right? Especially white people I knew from my workplace, from where I grew up, being like, why are you talking about this? Why are you talking about these things? Why are you being so blunt? And I had some nightmares. I'm not going to front. Like, again, this was years ago, and like before I ever started writing Black Buck, I was like, damn, yo, if I put something out, I could just get a lot of comments, like even personal comments from people I grew up with coming at me directly, and I'm going to have to face all of that. But again, when I shared those pieces with other people and they're like, yo, you got to do it, I was like, I got to do it. So by the time Black Buck came around, I was It's like, we got to keep it a buck.
Yes. But I mean, I like that you said how, people ask you, were you afraid of white people being offended? But I think, for me, it's like, what about us being offended when these things are said to us, or the microaggressions? Why is it always just one-sided? Why can't we talk about it? Why can't we expose it for what it is? And so I appreciate that, you put it out there, because it's not so much about what if white people are offended. It's about you let us know that we're seen, and that these things do happen, and they're ridiculous, and they're offensive. Yep. Another thing that I want to talk about is just Darren. And
Jimmy,
Darren
she got
not,
that gold popping. I don't mean to interrupt, but you got that gold popping. I'm like, yo, I'm blinded by the light.
I know Darren is not you. I heard you say that. But can we talk the experiences of Darren, feelings like Darren? Can you share?
Yeah, I can. So, Darren and I aren't one and the same. There are cosmetic differences. There's differences in terms of our backgrounds. I did live where Darren lives for a year when I was on the come up. And that's why I said it there. Because when I was on the come up working at this tech startup, when I was an intern, I wasn't getting paid or anything. I was hungry as hell. I was grinding. I was hustling, just trying to be one of these people at this startup. So I was like, let me set it here to distance myself from the narrative a little bit. So it's not just the blow by blow of my own history, but to also imbue the plot with that energy that I had when I was trying so hard to get on in that world of tech. So in terms of Darren, though, the truest thing in this book are the feelings. I have felt everything that all of these characters have felt. Betrayal, love, lust, triumph, tragedy, trauma, success, even that egocentrism of like, we are changing the world that many people in business and startups especially have, right? Of like, we are making the world a better place because I'm going to allow you to drink water out of a more versatile ergonomic bottle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can spin it whatever way you want. So I've experienced those things. But in terms of Darren, in the workplace, I didn't experience overt racism. I experienced it outside of the workplace. And I wanted to translate it into that workplace experience, because so many of us, right, we might be in the workplace and then hear our colleague say something, a white colleague or a non-Black colleague especially, say something of like, didn't George Floyd have something in him? Like, was he like sort of intoxicated beforehand? Or what did he do? And you're like, sometimes in that moment, there is no one way to react. But for some of us, you're like, hold up, I was just eating lunch with Craig, and Craig thinks this way. Your heart stops a little bit, and you can be stupefied into silence. At the same time, someone else could be like, F that. I'm about to cash a body out here. Goodbye, Craig. Good night. Tell your mom, tell your dad you're not coming home tonight. You know what I'm saying? So it was important for me to translate those experiences, though, into the workplace, so that we could see how they play out. And it wasn't to be hyperbolic. It was just to show that sometimes these innocuous and seemingly mundane comments, microaggressions, right, rooted in racism, can feel so much bigger than they are on the face.
Another thing I noticed in the book too is that you talked about it being you described the culture, and so I was thinking about like, when does culture become like a cult? And then the other thing is that, can you strive for success without losing your soul?
The fine line between cult and culture is a hard one, because most people, I believe, who are in cults don't know that they are until they're out, until someone wakes them up. And it's almost impossible to wake yourself up. I think that just comes down to liberation in general. It's very hard for us to liberate ourselves, right? Toni Morrison, we all know the quote that I'm about to say, and it's going to be paraphrased of like, if you're free, you need to free someone else. It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a cult, or oh my God, I need to wake up. So it's hard when you're in it, but there are signs, right? You cutting yourself off from your family and closest friends, you having more and more conversations where you tell people, I have these conversations, Jamise, where you're like, you don't understand. You don't understand. I'm out here with a couple hundred people that are changing the world. I'm paid too. I got power. I got status. Shit, let's not front. I was in the sunken place when I was working in that startup world. And then all of a sudden, something or someone would slap me out. And I'm like, oh, actually, your degree won't save you. Actually, your money won't save you. Actually, your power or status will not save you. Still black. You know what I'm saying?
Still black.
So, still black. So it's hard, but those are just some signs. And when there's I don't know, I hesitate to say this, when there's a messianic figure or figures, typically a male, that is leading a group of people in the belief that you're changing the world, you got to be a little cautious.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the second part, which is, do you have to lose yourself to succeed? No, absolutely not. You do not. I think that the best success when you bring your whole self. That's what I'm trying to do every day in all these interactions, in all these interviews, whatever. We got the Today Show tomorrow. I'm bringing myself.
Yes,
you
I
know,
can't wait.
because he is who got me here. My bad, that feels weird to speak in third person. But let's talk about Darren. For Darren to thrive at Someone, and for those who didn't read the book, SUMWN, that's the name of the startup that he works at.
So listening to the audiobook, you don't know that's the way it's spelled unless you open up the book.
Okay, word. Yeah.
Is there anything behind the spelling of that?
No, I just didn't want to. Well, all right, there is a little bit. I'm going to get back to that real quick. So the spelling is because startups, they're always trying to come up with these new and crazy ways to spell things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it comes down to a domain name, right? If I'm going to start a startup, I can't go by Someone, SOME, WNE. I can't buy that. So I got to do SUMWN. So that's just a play on that. But for Darren to survive and thrive at Someone, he couldn't be himself, right? If he had remained himself and not become Buck, he would have either been fired or quit. But that doesn't mean he couldn't have gone somewhere else that celebrated who he was and thrived and succeeded there just as well.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about Jason, because I have strong feelings about whenever.
Woo, tell me.
I just have strong feelings about, and we can talk about this, but I don't think it's always wrong that you leave people behind, because everybody can't be on your elevator. They have to get off at some point if they're not, there's nothing wrong with maintaining those friendships. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying everybody's not meant to go with you.
Ooh.
And so why is it always the person that's succeeding or getting out or doing better crucified? And that's how I felt, that yes, Darren had some changes and he, forgot a couple things and people, but is it always the fault of the person that's trying to do better for themselves to be seen as, they're seen as they're forgetting people? Maybe sometimes they're not forgetting people. Maybe the other people are just not where they need to be. And that's just the question.
So let me ask before I answer. Did you think that Jason was bugging out and that he didn't have the right to?
I thought Jason.
I know people in the audience who read the book that they got thoughts too. I know it about this.
I thought Jason, I'm not going to give anything away, but I just thought Jason saw his friend, climbing the corporate ladder and wanting more for himself. And I personally just felt like he really gave him a hard time. I think we all choose our path.
Yeah.
And so you can't be responsible for everyone. I think that's the thing. And so I just, I have kids, so I try to tell them the same thing. Everybody's not meant to come with you. At some point, those who are meant to be there will be there, and those who are not will not be there.
Yeah.
And so I just was curious about Jason.
Yeah, my perspective, and I'm going to be careful at this point, right? Not to hold back, but because I don't want to portray my thoughts on people who haven't read the book.
Yes. Okay.
This is how I look at it, right? Like, Jason was Buck's ace. He grounded him. He went to bat for him all the time before he was Buck, right?
Yes.
And there are people, as they're saying in our lives, that they either bring us up or they bring us down. And how are we supposed to fly if people are holding us down? You know what I'm saying? And not in a good way of like, yo, like some wait. But I have found in my life experience and mistakes.
I think you're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, my bad. You got me?
You're breaking up just a little bit. Hold on.
Okay, you got me?
Yep. It's okay. Now we got you. I think. Can you guys see him?
Cool. Yeah.
It's a little fuzzy. I think it's going in and out.
Let me. You got me now?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Let me just get off my internet.
Instagram is not trying to let us be great.
It's all good, but you got me?
Yeah, you're just fuzzy, and I think people want to see you. I can hear you. IG is tripping on his end.
Better?
I can hear you.
Better?
You're spinning. Yeah, we got you back. Yeah.
All right, cool. I got off the Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi is not for us. All right, so you got me?
Yeah.
All right, so basically what I was saying is that from my own experience, right, and my own mistakes, sometimes the people who have been with you for a long time, who you perceive to be dead weight and want to cut off, actually aren't. And then sometimes the people that are hopping on with you, right, are like parasites. Yes. And it's so hard to know who is who in the moment, especially if you're moving very quickly and there's a lot going on. But Jason, right, he could come off as sour. He could come off as having that crabs in a barrel mentality. But I think Jason, at the end of the day, was just hurt.
Yeah.
He was hurt. That Buck was running past him on the corner and not dapping him up anymore or saying what up. That he was treating Jason as less than, because all of a sudden he's making $65K in Manhattan with these white boys and bugging out. Yeah. So I think that Jason, and again, no spoilers, but the things that Jason does and the way that he acts is just coming from a place of pain. And it's so hard for many of us, not just Black people, but also Black men, to say, bro, I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
Yes.
You're hurting me right now. And I wish that you were still my friend. I wish, that I could still talk to you about things. Like, we'll be like, what? Man, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Soft, right. Or say X, Y, Z, some other crazy stuff, that we're not going to say now. So that's the way that I view Jason. But I will say, I'm tempted not to, because again, I don't want to press myself on the reader. But in many ways, Jason is more mature than Buck. He has his goals and his priorities straighter than Buck, especially at the beginning. And yeah, that's what I'll say about Jason.
I thank you for that. Thank you for that. I want to go back to another point in the book that I found interesting, is when I finally realized where Buck came from. It just brought me back to something that I have found personally, is that when you're in white spaces, why do they always want to cut your name down or shorten your name or change it to something else? And
Jamie.
I mean, I can remember going to company picnics with my dad or my mom, and someone would say, oh, hey, Jim, or hey, Dot. And I'm thinking, who is Jim and who is Dot? Like James and Dorothy. I'm thinking, who's Jim and who's Dot? And so that was a good point. I don't know if anybody else picked that up or anybody else has experienced that, but I just know that, Jimmy or Bobby, it seems like it's always your name is not what your name is. And I'm very distinct about my name. If my name is pronounced incorrectly, or I don't let it slide, I tell you, no, it's not Jasmine. It's not Jami's, it's Jimmy's. And I'm very particular about that.
Yeah. I'm hesitant to say this because I don't want to let anyone really know, but the one that gets me more than anything else is when someone's like, hey, buddy, hey, bud.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm not your buddy and I'm not your bud, sport. Stop that. Yeah, I am not mad. Yo, just even thinking about it gets me going. But in terms of Buck being renamed, it wasn't even so much in terms of these white people wanting to give him a nickname, but it's that in many of these environments, especially startups, many people are renamed.
Okay.
You're just given a nickname. And for me, I was showing how he couldn't be Darren. He couldn't be Darren in this space. But we also see people like Frodo, his original name, Arnold Begini.
Yes.
My man forgets his name.
Yes, he does.
He's like, yo, my name is,
what's my name?
Yeah, Arnold Begini. Oh, yeah. Because he had adopted that persona as Frodo. And for the folks who haven't read the book, Frodo is he's the mediocre white boy or white man who gets on, and he had a much easier time than Darren, for reasons why you can guess and you'll see. But yeah, so that's where the nicknames came from.
So Tracy asked, what was your nickname in your startup?
Woo, Tracy. Woo. God, Tracy puts you on the spot. I can't see the chat anymore because I think my internet skipped around. So you'll have to read the questions for me if that's okay.
The chat is, how the chat is. You're there on Sunday, so you know how the chat's going on. You already know.
I'm there for Sunday service with my brother Achille and Reggie.
Yes, you know how the chat's going.
All right, so I don't know if I want to say this. My nickname was Swag Poppy.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what?
Okay.
Yeah, it was Swag Poppy, and people would sometimes.
Soul said in the comments it must have been Zaddy.
What are they saying? In the comments?
Soul said it must be Zaddy, and somebody said not Zaddy. I'm done.
Nah, it was Swag Poppy, Papi, and some people will call me Swag. Some people will call me Pop. Some people call me Swag Pop. But yeah, it was.
I held it together until that point. Okay.
It was Swag Poppy.
So I know you probably can't say, but I see this as a movie, a TV series. I mean, anything like that coming down the pipe?
Yeah, it's all coming down. Yeah. So news soon come, and we've been working in Hollywood for a minute, and things are coming to fruition. Things will come out there. I can't see it in the chat, but I would love for people who read the book to tell me who they think should play like Darren or Jason.
I'll tell you if it pops up.
Who comes? I was going to ask
play
you,
Darren?
but also you. Who comes to mind for you?
For Darren?
Anyone, Ma, or I got thoughts about all of them.
I don't know. For some reason, for when I'm thinking about Ma, I think about like Octavia or Viola.
Ooh, Viola.
I do.
Strong.
Just the sensitivity. I don't want to give anything away, but I think about her.
Octavia would be, again, not to give anything away, but if Octavia played that role, that certain parts would be hitting. Like, I'm just picturing.
Oh
now.
Gosh, yes, yes. The letter, all of that. Yes, all the above. For Darren, I don't know. I have no idea, and I know there's somebody. I know you're a big movie person.
Yeah, yeah, movies, TVs. I've thought about the character Stephen James, who was in If Beale Street Could Talk.
Okay.
And he was also in the Amazon show Homecoming. I thought about him. I thought about a young man named Kelvin Harrison Jr. that was in Godfather of Harlem. He was also in the movie Luce, Luce. So his range is wild. And the movie Waves. My man just has a crazy range. So I've thought about him. A lot of people have mentioned Jarrell Jerome, but it's hard for me to picture Jarrell Jerome because Jarrell Jerome is from the Bronx. And it'd be hard for me to picture him, playing around with these people at the startup. I think he could play Jason.
Yes.
But I don't know about Buck.
Yeah. That's amazing. I can't wait to see what comes from that. Some people said they're starting the book tonight. Well, we're not giving anything away. So
yeah, no spoilers.
I saw in an interview where you said when things get back to normal, and I don't like to say back to normal, I just say when things are safe and we can hug, something that you want to do.
But the 7 Crazy Nights?
Yeah, 7 crazy. I like that.
Oh, man. I am going to go to the movie theater every night or maybe just during the day. It depends what's going on at that point, what I can do. But yeah, every day at least for 7 days, because for me, and it feels weird to say it, right? Because there's so much real stuff going on with people having lost their lives and all of that, which is horrible. But right, if we could talk about more material pleasures, then I miss the movies so much. I love going to the movies just by myself and sitting there and watching a good film. But when it's safe to do so, I'm not even gonna really check what's playing. I'm just gonna roll in at least once a day and just give myself that of like, yo, things are better, things are improved,
Yes.
or things are improving in some ways. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
I kind of felt that way on Sunday. I went to a brunch for the first time like in months, and I probably had one too many mimosas. I was just so glad to be outside and see people walk around. So it's just the feeling of just getting back to the things that you miss and the people that you miss.
What do you miss most aside from a hug?
Oh God, what do I miss most? I really miss seeing my kids. My kids are in LA, so I miss that tremendously.
Yeah.
And my sister's in Florida. But to be very superficial, I miss going to the bar and having like a craft cocktail. I love craft cocktails. And so I just like being in the atmosphere. And dinner, I love to eat. So
you seem like a foodie.
I am a foodie. I love to eat. So I do miss that. And traveling. Yeah.
Big one for me too.
I miss travel.
Yeah.
I do.
Can't wait.
I cannot wait. First time I haven't been to New York in the summertime in probably 10 years.
Oh, where? Why are you coming here all the time?
I spend the summer, come up to see a play and just hang out and go eat and just spend the weekend. And so I haven't that's the first time in 10 years I haven't been.
So you're telling me that when you do come, you're going to hit me up, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, we're going to hook up
right,
and we're going to have drink. Yes, we are going to have it.
All right.
Not one
we're
of those
going to go to the movies.
No, not one of the nights that Darren and them had.
Hey, nah, I don't have those nights anymore. That's why we're drinking tea. That's why we're drinking tea over here. Not one of those
nights. So what are you working on? What's next aside from the movie TV thing? What are you working on? Another book? Or can you share?
Yeah, I'm working on another book. Yeah, definitely. Another novel. And it's hard because I'm so focused on promo and I'm so focused on interacting with readers right now. But yeah, definitely another novel, maybe some essays soon. I don't know when, and the next couple of months, because I got ideas brewing. And now it's like, it's not going to be such a, and this is, let's not kid ourselves. This industry's rigged. Right now, it's not going to be as hard for me to get an essay placed somewhere X, Y, Z. Whereas years ago, I was selling stuff for free to try to get on.
I mean, you say the word rigged, and it's just everything is rigged when it comes to us. I mean, it's just that's just the simple fact. And so
it's true.
You try to be polite and politically correct about it, but that's just what it is. And so
that's just what it is. And that's why it's important for me where I'm at to hold the door open, right? The door's been open. I'm not opening up. People have opened up before me, but it's to help others through, whether it's in this industry or somewhere else. So that for me as well has been a thought and a focus of mine, is how can I dispense this information en masse to people on a mass scale. And I'm thinking that IG Lives might be the way. I've been doing Clubhouse and just other ways to get the information out,
And that's good to share information. A lot of people don't want to share information. And so that's a different conversation for a different day. But people don't want to share information. But I'm so glad that you decided to come on with me. But I'm not going to let you go. We got a couple more minutes.
All right.
What are you reading?
I am reading The Awkward Black Man by Walter Mosley.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's tough. It's tough for me to read even because by the time night rolls around, I'm pretty tired. But yeah, so that I got my book brother.
Yep, I have it right here.
Jr. We got The Prophets.
I'm excited about this. This is what I've been into.
Oh yeah, he's in that too.
Oh my God,
I can't wait for that. Damn, that's thick.
It's very thick, but it is. Woo! Oh my gosh, it's life changing. But we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about it's life changing.
I can't wait for that too. That's the type of book that I could just sip on for a minute. I know it.
It's great. But
yeah, The Prophets.
For my kids.
And yeah, we got other books coming through. We got other people with books coming out this year. Zakiya Delilah Harris with The Other Black Girl. I'm checking for that. I'm checking for a lot of books.
Yes, definitely. Any literary influences that you draw
for sure.
Yeah.
One of my big ones is John A. Williams. Jason Reynolds actually introduced me to him, and yeah, he's a big one. Of course, Paul Beatty. His book, The Sellout, is what gave me the confidence to write something like this. that was pushing the envelope in a way, and that was a little out there and very intense. Of course, big ups to Toni Morrison. It's just, I think Toni Morrison is one of, if not the most intelligent person to have ever written. There's other people writing. Nafisa Thompson Spires, who I launched with at Greenlight, and when I read Heads of the Colored People,
it's incredible.
I was like, what? Yo, what? And talk about Black writing that is showcasing like a kaleidoscope of us.
Yes.
Right? Every story is just a different manifestation of us, and it's beautiful. So those are definitely some of my influences. But I will say the book that is most closely in line with mine is The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And I had only read that last August, long after I finished Black Buck. Had gone through, like, I guess, copy editing at that point by Sam Greenlee, 1969. Okay. If you read that book and then my book, or my book and then that book, you're going to be like, they're doing the same thing, but so many years apart. And what does that mean? By the door? Yep. Right. What does that mean for our nation, right? If people are still able to write about things that are just as relevant, 50 years later.
Did you just say, what does that mean for our nation, considering what just happened 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because, right, things are getting better in a lot of ways, but you have people that try to be like, oh, look, the world's just so much better than it was. Now you're not being called XYZ or picketing. Right. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Well, everyone, if you have not read Black Book, I highly recommend that you read this book. It's really good. It is.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed the audiobook. I can't remember who narrated, but they did a fantastic
Zeno Robinson.
Such a good job.
Zeno Robinson.
Such a good job. And so can you tell us what's next tomorrow? What's coming up? You got to shout that out.
Yeah, we got the Today Show tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern is when I'll be on, and it's going to be like 5 to 6 minutes of me talking with Jenna and Hoda about the book, and we'll see how it goes.
That's right, because I didn't even mention that, because I pulled my sticker off. I'm not a sticker person, but I forgot to mention that it was a Read with Jenna pick.
Yeah,
congratulations on that.
Cool.
I'm sure it reached a lot of readers.
Yeah, for me, what's been coolest and most interesting is reaching a segment of readers that I didn't really have in mind in the beginning of when I was writing it, right? And I'm so happy that they have read the book, though, and then I'm getting their thoughts, right? I'm not going to be out here being like, I don't want people to read the book. That's not it. I'm grateful for anyone who spends the time and energy to read my words, because, clock's ticking. We're going to go one day. And you only have so much time to do so many things.
Never laugh about that. Yeah.
So anyone who reads my words, thank you. But it's been cool to interact with most of her audience. And her audience, it's not just middle-aged white women. There are Black people in her audience as well, including men and Black men. But it's predominantly middle-aged white women, I believe. But it's been cool to interact with them, to hear what spoke to them as well. Because, I'm having conversations with us constantly, with Reggie, with Joy, with other people. And those are really the only reviews that I'm checking for, to be honest, like Bookstagram reviews. But it is always cool to get another person's take on what resonated with them. And I appreciate it.
And maybe they can see themselves in the book.
Hey, there you go.
So anyway, I wish you nothing but much more success. This has been fantastic. Your bookshelf is awesome. And I really appreciate the work that you've done with this book. Black Buck, you guys, make sure you pick it up. And we'll be back here soon, I'm sure, again. We'll be talking.
I hope so. Janice, thank you for your time. Be well and be healthy.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.